All right.
Oh,
So
fuck.
I was battling hipsters. You
Damn.
were battling your own ego.
Pretty much, dude.
Fill us in. What happened?
So I'll start you from the beginning, man.
Yeah.
Show up. I talked to you. I forgot about that. We talked on the way over.
Yes.
On the way over, I was telling you about Soplar, and there was the other technique where like if you encounter if you encounter an entity, you can either go like push it away, or if I think that's Soplar, and there's another, I forget the name of it, dude. Torping.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, Torping. I remember that.
So if Soplar doesn't work, this is like the YouTubes I had watched before.
Now Matt's talking about taking a 5-gram mushroom journey.
So while you're out of your body in the astral plane, or wherever I was watching videos to prepare for it.
Right here in this house. Hi,
boy, dude.
You're in your own brain,
dude.
Yes.
Go ahead. That's a very materialist perspective.
I've been there.
That's a very materialist perspective.
No,
if I was at that
brunch
with you, I would have easily, I just would have calmed the entire situation.
I had a nice brunch. I had a nice, calm brunch.
Does not sound like
if she walked by, I said, I'd like to kill you. Very calmly.
I was gone. Calmly. My body was here. I'd feel my body every now and again. But on the way over, I was telling you about Soplar and Torping. And Torping, if Soplar doesn't work, if the entities come around you and you go, you might, that's kind of like a gut punch. They'll be like, ah, but you might also attract the attention of larger entities. That thing's part of a hierarchy.
Higher part.
Exactly.
So you think...
I'll get to my beliefs.
Not being a jerk.
No, absolutely.
So there's a different dimension, and level there are entities that are
very possibly, yes.
Possibly entities that are like monsters.
Here's the thing. I believe in God now, totally.
Okay.
So I'm not really worried about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because I can just always call upon the one true creator.
Okay.
No big deal.
So call on them.
There's people out there who do deal with them. I mean, I might come across them. I haven't stopped my travels yet.
Yeah.
But it's like the technique this guy came up with.
This is what I feared the most.
Oh, yeah.
This journey.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck,
dude. Oh, 100%
dude.
believe in God. No, not even, there's no, people can say, oh, it's like, hey.
No, I didn't fear that you would believe in God.
What?
I feared that you would be like, I haven't stopped my travels yet.
I haven't stopped them, dude.
I know.
I have not stopped. But
all right.
I think I'm going to do like every 5-year schedule, I believe. With some little treats in between, obviously. Some changa.
You can get high as shit occasionally, too.
The weed deep dives are probably on a whole new level now.
So you think not you think, I'm not,
sure.
But I like to imagine a dimension where there's just monsters, like demons, like,
well, it's an immaterial
and then
dimension.
all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, somebody's high as hell right now. We got to go spook them.
No.
It's like, yo, this doper's blowing extra hard. Run, everybody.
Well, that's when if you torp.
Oh shit, he's torping us.
Torping is when you're there and the Soplar doesn't work. But torping, you go, and then that can kill them. That can kill them.
Kill them?
That can kill them. You got to be careful because you're still taking a life. I mean, it is, it's an immaterial dark energy body, but they're not feeding on you because you're high. You have a light body as a human being.
Yeah.
So, it's like you're opening yourself up to different frequencies, and your consciousness isn't in your brain. It's like an electromagnetic field. It's like, here's a magnet, but there's also a field. Your mind's, in my opinion, the same way. So it's like, you just open yourself up, in my opinion. My humble opinion.
Yeah, your humble opinion?
Rupert Sheldrake and some of the greatest minds of the Dark Ages medieval period, yeah.
Great minds of the Dark Ages?
I mean, dude, yeah.
The great minds of the noted worst time for minds?
That's propaganda. That's history propaganda, dude. You know this. Dark Ages weren't as bad as people say. There's a lot of cool stuff happening.
Definitely cool stuff.
A lot of cool art. Come on, give me that. Give me that.
I'll give you what?
Cool art in the Dark Ages.
Yeah,
dude.
sure.
Don't fall into history propaganda, dude.
No, I'm not falling for the propaganda. I'm more worried about demons hiding.
You don't have to worry about them, dude.
No, they've visited me. I've seen them.
They could.
But I believe they were in my own mind.
They could be. I mean, you're a materialist. That's what you would think. I don't
like to get called things.
Here's the thing. It's just a belief. You describe. There's nothing wrong with it, dude. We need each other. But, I mean, to think that intelligence stops with us, it's to me, it's a fallacy. It's like it very possibly is. There's larger and larger creatures and larger levels of consciousness. We're larger than an ant in terms of how conscious we are. To think the buck stops with us.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean there's a dimension of monsters.
They could
just because sure, there could be aliens with higher levels of intelligence than us. Sure,
that could kind of interact with us mentally, possibly. I don't know. I'm saying I don't know. I don't totally dismiss it. It might just all be in our heads. That's on the table. But dude, if you witness what I witnessed, bro,
I did. I just got very, very high myself.
But you have to set the intention, dude. I mean, look,
I figured you did it better than me.
No, don't start that.
I figured you knew how to do it better.
Don't start that.
No.
Don't start that.
I didn't start that. You're right.
I know what you're doing here.
No, I started it. I'm sorry. I started that for sure.
I know.
I was the one who started that.
No, I'm telling you, everyone can have different experiences. And again, you have to go into it. It all depends on your inherent belief system. I'm not saying you're wrong, but for me, a belief system is something you choose that resonates with you, that you get benefits from. So if I were to say, like, you know, I want to think like Sam Harris, I can do that. It just doesn't really make me feel that good. If I go into like entities, God, all that stuff, that pumps me up. It makes me feel good. So that's the one I pick. You know what I'm saying?
Well, of course, that's how that works. Yeah.
It rules.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, nobody knows for sure. So it's like, why would I pick one that makes me feel like everything's totally pointless? Not doing that.
Yeah.
God, Soplar, Torping. Let's go. Let's fucking go, dude.
Yeah.
I would not have been able to withstand that experience without perfect faith, dude. I was on the threshold. I could have been obliterated, and I was just fucking out of my body.
So you had perfect faith.
In the moment I had, compared to everything I had before, in that moment. And dude, I'm a fallible creature, but I was able to fully go.
You are?
Yeah, of course.
Oh shit.
I'm saying I was able to transcend possibly my greatest fear, and I could have went either way. I mean, you either believe in fear or you believe in God. I chose the path of God. It's that simple, dude. It's one dictates your life or the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was at a crossroads.
I fear God, dude.
You can. That you should.
I fear God, homie.
So I didn't even get into the whole thing, dude.
I fear God, homie.
This is going to sound really weird. You're already kind of freaked out. I'm just testing the waters.
Yeah.
I was in direct communication. I'm not saying like I was God or anything. I got the full rundown on how that all works and how we're all like part of an organism, basically. That's just like, we can't even comprehend. Dude, it was so terrifying.
Well, tell me, what happened?
So I get out. You and I talk about Torpin. You obviously make fun of me and belittle me and stuff. And then I get kidding. And then
you obviously talk down to me. Go ahead.
How do I talk down to you?
No, go ahead.
I never talk down to you.
Sure.
When?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh my God, dude. It's so funny. So we get in. It was actually very funny. It actually helped me. I was so nervous. I talked to you. We had a good laugh. And then I go inside, and my brother was shamaning me. So I come in. I was in here actually, and I go in and see my brother, and I'm coming up with every excuse not to do this. I'm like, because I had them on me. I'm looking at them. Yeah. I'm like, God, so much. And so I'm like, I'm gonna eat these. So I'm like, I go up into the room. I'm in the chamber. I'm up in the sanctuary above this. And I'm like up there by myself. And I go downstairs. I'm like, oh, are you going to come up with me while I eat these or what? Like I didn't want to eat them myself. I was that nervous. So he comes up and I just start munching. I'm like, fuck it, let's go. So I just start chomping them, taking the water. And he was like, yeah, you should have about 40 minutes or so. He's like, take a piss, do what you got to do.
Get ready.
Dude, so they're munched, they're down the hatch. I'm like shitting myself. This was fucking terrifying. Yeah. So actually once I ate them, I felt kind of calm, but I was like, the clock was ticking. So I go in, I take a piss, I lay in the bed, and dude, just to give you some sort of perspective. Before I left, I was like picking out a shirt. This is like my like thought patterns. Picking out a shirt. I see my green shirt, the one I got down when we were doing stand up down. Where were we? Down south, down South Texas way. Texas. So I remember we went to the thrift store.
Yes.
So I was gonna wear a green
the Letterman jacket.
Not the Letterman. Yeah, I was gonna wear the green thermal shirt I had from there. But I was like, before I went, I was like, I don't know who used to wear this shirt. I don't want to wear like a shirt that maybe this guy was like a fucking like violent criminal. I don't want to bring like some dude's shirt that like did bad shit into this space with me. So I'm like, I won't wear that. When I went to get into bed, I laid on top of the covers because I was like, I don't want to lay under the covers, and if I'm tripping, I like feel trapped under the just neurotic thinking. Like as soon as it kicked in, I started bugging out, doing all this stuff. And all of that kind of like, should I do this? Should I do that? It just got wiped to the point now where it's like the idea of dancing, I was laughing, being like, the idea that I was uncomfortable about that was just the funniest thing in the world to me.
Uncomfortable about dancing?
Yeah. It was just like, that's the craziest shit in the world.
Yeah.
Or being like, I'm going to pick this shirt because like a dead guy might have worn, like all of that stuff. Like, I'm going to stay on top. It was like, get under the blankets, you idiot. And the whole time was like, I'm going to keep the mask on the entire 4 hours. And it was like, dude, if you want to take it up, you fucking weird. Just shit like that.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's that's what I said. You have some very non-neurotic tendencies. So I'm laying there. I thought I had 40 minutes. I talked to my brother for a little bit, And then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, dude, like I'm just going to start like close my eyes and breathe and put the mask on. I had Bluetooth. I had a mask with headphones hooked up to my laptop. So I put it on and I start like my playlist is going, close my eyes and I start breathing and I just like, as soon as like, it feels like something kind of showed up because when your eyes are closed, it's really weird to do. Like I'm sitting there and all of a sudden it was just like, okay, like the effects are setting in. And I got like incredibly anxious and was just like, fuck, dude, fuck. Like I was freaking, I like started to kind of freak out. And that was the point I was like, you know, you get all those thoughts like, I knew I shouldn't have done this. I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I'm going to freak. And it was just like, I had this, out of nowhere, I had this thought. It was just like, dude, your body's been dealing with fear before you were even a self, if that makes sense. When you're a baby, you're not a self yet. You're just like a fucking thing.
Sure.
So it's like, you've been processing fear. There's no need for you to try to like mitigate it or be in the way of it. Just completely let it go. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I let that go. And then, you know, I'm still kind of bugging out. I'm this and that, but I feel a little better. And then I'm like breathing, tracking my breath, like following my breath. And I'm like in my head, like, well, I want to make sure like I'm still breathing because it's like starting to kick in. It's like,
yeah.
And I have like, you know, my eyes closed and it's like, just like, it was like the visuals are more like stained glass windowy kind of shit. Like almost like it'd be like a neon kind of like garden. It was weird, but it's very faint. It wasn't super pronounced. And then, so then it was just kind of like, dude, like why are you like keeping track of your breath? It's like, well, I want to make sure I'm still breathing. It's like, dude, your body knows how to, will you stop with this weird fucking shit? Just let it go. And then I fully was like, all right, fine. It was like, look, nothing's going to happen. You're going to be back in one piece. Like you'll be fine. You have to completely give in. So long story short, let go, dude. Just become, I just go, it's the way I think, like explain it is just like, it's a wave. You just get like carried off to the point where like I would eventually, I'm sure, you know, you've done this, but you like, I would touch my head for a second. Like I would just be like hearing myself like, oh, like making noises and I'd reach up and you'd be like, my head. And you're like, oh, I have a head. Like
it's like when you're in virtual reality.
Yes.
Where you're like in this thing and then you like accidentally touch a counter and you're like, oh shit, I forgot I was in this room.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And I forget, it like kind of went off into like, so the anxiety stuff, I was like examining all the ways fear kind of controls and dictates my life. And it went deeper than I imagined. And it was just like so much shit popping up. And I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. That's this, blah, blah, blah. Then I got like a tremendous wave of anxiety. And that's when like the religious stuff kind of started coming in. Because my two intentions were to examine how fear dictates my life and to also start to examine all the spiritual stuff I've been reading about. Dude, I went into like, this, I can't even explain it, but it was like the whole, you know, like the whole mystic idea that like we are all part of God. And it's like almost like it's like a gigantic organism and we're just kind of like individual cells within this entire blah, blah, blah. So I was like in that idea, if that's like the easiest way to explain it. And I got to think the way God thinks. And it was overwhelming, terrifying, and like lonely and just weird. I was like in eternity by myself, but being like, this is what this is, and being like, this fucking sucks, dude. And I just got like, I remember I kept thinking like, oh my God, all I have to do is just take care of such a little tiny piece of the world, like my life and like, you know, my little fucking web of relationships. And I'm like, I'm such a dickhead. And it just starts running through how I've been just a fucking dickhead, a pussy, letting this dictate. And it was just fucking brutal, dude, of just like, you have so little to deal with. And then like, I would like, you know, I'm in that. I went through the whole Christ message and like, this is what Jesus was trying to tell people. And this is how Jesus's brain worked. And I was just like, oh, this is too much. And oh, fuck, I didn't want to let people it sounds crazy, but dude, like and it's almost indescribable. And then I would get spit out. You get out, like the wave would be over and I'd be back in the room. And that's when I was like, dude, if you want to get under the blankets, get under the blankets. Like Pop was like immediately I heard Tom come up the stairs and I'm like, Tom, it's like, I think I'm done. I think it's over. And he was like, it's not over, bro. I was like, how long's it been? He was like, it's been about 45 minutes. And I was just like, or like an hour, whatever it was. And I was just like, okay. And then mask back on. I'm under the blankies, dude. Go into another wave. It's the point where like, I remember like going into like the Jesus stuff, hitting like a Buddha thing where I was kind of like, dude, it was fucking nuts, dude. It was the point where like, I do remember one of the things was like, I had fully like grokked the Christ message. And then there was like Jesus's eye peering like this at me. And it was like, you understand what I was dealing with? And like, that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, there's nothing to freak out about. Literally, it's all in your head. It's all bullshit. You're totally fine. And it was like, you know, blah, blah, blah. But if you tell this to people, they'll want to kill you. And I was like, oh, fuck. He's like, but you have the message. I was like, fuck. I was just like, no.
So now you have Christ's message.
I didn't want it, dude. I tried.
Well, all of the saints, they didn't want it, bro.
Dude, but here's the
Jesus
thing.
didn't want it.
I was aware of the whole dynamic. It was funny because at the time I was going like, oh, this is how people are convinced they're Jesus. And I was kind of like, that's weird. So I was still able to keep some of my faculties. Yeah. But then I did this whole thing with like the Buddha thing and being like, oh, so that's what nirvana feels. And all of it felt like scary. It wasn't like, oh, I was blissed out. I'm like, this is overwhelming to think at this level and this depth. I'm like, please send me back to my just like stupid, like one cylinder brain where I can just be nice. Like I just all I have to do is be good and be nice. So I would keep like being spit back out and it would just be like, I would just lay there like, I can't wait to be so good. I'm going to be so fucking good. I'll be so fucking nice, dude. And I'd be like, Tom. And he'd come up and be like, what time is it? And he'd be like, dude, you still got a while, man. I'd be like, and then I'd go back under. So eventually what happened was I get out of the religious stuff and then I start coming back into like the world. Like I start coming, like realizing where I am. Like I was gone in like heaven stuff. And then I come into, not even heaven, I would say. I was in like deep, like universe, God stuff. And then I go into, so then I start coming to my senses kind of, but I go like, all right, so where am I? And I was like, Earth. And I'm like, right. I'm like, do I have any money? And I was like, what the fuck? We have money? And I had went through a whole thing on money where I was just like, how the fuck did we get tricked into that? All the, all this stuff of like, so I got to go around and just keep collecting this stuff. And I'm like, fuck, man. And, it was all this stuff. And then I started getting into countries where I'd be like, wait, what? There's countries? And like, they don't
so
like
you're Antifa. You were like, money's borders
no,
suck.
Not at all. I wasn't even, mine was, no, because they're just in the mix of all that shit. Mine was more like, let's grow food. And all that stuff's weird. That's all Caesar's realm, bro. It's God, obviously what belongs to Caesar, but dude, so I'm like, I'm breaking it down in Caesar's realm where it's like money, countries, weapons, political factions. And I was just like, and I'm like, I'm remembering what the world is. And that, dude, it was fucking crazy. So then it's another wave. I do a whole wave on like unexpectedly like geopolitics shit. And I was just like, fuck, dude, this is fucked up. And then like, so then my brother comes up again and I'm like, dude, I think I'm good, man. And there's a point where I was like, I'm going to start my own country. And I was like, people are going to kill me because I have the Christ message and I'm going to start my own country. And I was like, I'm definitely getting shot. And I was like bugging out on it. And so then I'm like, my brother comes up and I'm like, dude, like I'm telling him about money and countries. And he's like, just kind of like laughing. And I'm like, I think I'm good for real, dude. Because then I got into a whole thing of like, dude, all your fears are bullshit. Even like you're telling yourself you have to lay on bed because you're on so much mushrooms. That's all bullshit too. Like get up and go do your thing. You got the message, go about your day. And I was like, right on. And I got up. So I'm like, let's go outside. And he's like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
So we come in through the studio and we went out on the deck. So I'm sitting outside just like, I remember being like, because I was gone from the world. So I'm like, I'm in the city, cars are going by. And I remember just being like, this is a lot of activity, dude. Yeah. There's a lot of people here. And they're all fucking on these like weird hell-bent missions where they'd been kind of like co-opted into chasing this weird material resource. It was kind of a strange thing. But then we locked ourselves out. I shut the door behind me. Didn't realize that it locked from the inside. So then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm good. I turned to go back inside. And the door just was like, the knob, the lock, were just like, and I like look at it and was just like, and I thought I was hallucinating being outside. So I turned to my brother and he was frozen in time. So I looked at him.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And he was just, and I was like, Tom. And he was like, what? And I was like, I thought you froze. And he was just like, dude, you got to go back inside. And I was like, the doors doesn't work. And he was like, what? Did you lock us out? And I was like, I think it does lock from it. And like, he was like, fuck. And it was cold. So I'm outside in the cold and I'm just sitting out there. And again, it was like, I felt myself start to bug and my body was like, dude, if you want to bug, dude. But like, that's on you. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to bug. And then he's like, Spud's working around the corner. And again, I had just come out of like, we shouldn't have countries. We shouldn't have money. We shouldn't have locks. So in my head, I'm like, fucking hate locks, dude. I'm like, this is why we shouldn't have this shit. So Spud comes.
We shouldn't even have locks.
So Spud comes and lets us in. And I'm just like, this is why you have bros. This is why your bros are the best, dude. You can lock yourself out. Your bros can just like, I'm like, this is the only thing that matters. Like, I'm going through all that stuff. And then I go back into bed. I'm not even done. So I'm halfway at this point. He's like, I'm like, I think I'm going to lay down. I don't know if I'm ready yet. And he's like, you're not. Go lay down. So I lay down. This is where it got like truly weird. So and this is like, again, this is the reentry. This is like, I'm coming back to the world. I lay down. I remember kind of crossing my legs like this, like if you peep under here, like a little grapevine.
Yes.
Just, it was comfy. And instantly my brain just shot to like the DNA helix. And I'm like, DNA, tight. And then all of a sudden it started going into like, I had this like, not a memory, but I had this like, and it sounds, I thought this was the most profound thing in the world. I was like, fuck, dude. I used to be a sperm cell. And I was just like, I was in my dad, and there was fucking millions of cells, and I had a whole other life as an organism that I don't even remember. And I was just like, my brothers were in my dad? And I was like, whoa. And then I started thinking about how my dad was in someone else, and they were in someone else, and how like all of us were just emanating from this uninterrupted life force, and we just kind of all like popped up like a, like a blade of grass, or like our whole personality was like wallpaper on this like generic life force that we're all part of. It was pretty nuts, dude. And then I like couldn't tell. I was like burdened with the knowledge that I was a sperm cell, and I didn't think anyone else, like I thought people had pushed it out of their mind. I'm like, I can't bring this back to people and tell them, they won't be able to take it. I thought I was like going to like dismantle people's mental well-being by being like, damn, sit down for this, bro. But you were a sperm cell. Like, I thought I thought that we all repressed it and forgot that we were like basically tadpoles at one point, living in another person. And also like, obviously we were living in our mom, and we were also kind of living in our dad, sort of parts of us. And then, it was just like, so I went on that for a while, and then that kind of seeped into like this whole thing, how like I was thinking of everyone I know. And after I'd kind of like strip myself down to being like, dude, you're a fucking pussy about this. You're not, you should be doing better with this person. You should be, just be nicer. Cause a lot of my stuff is like, well, this person would do this to me. And it was just like, fuck you, shut up, stop being a pussy. And then, I was like in this, everyone I knew was like an island, and I was in the water. And then we were like, basically we were just the water, but the island was us popping up as like our personalities, but we were all part of the same thing. And then eventually I came to and thought I broke my brain and that I'd never be the same ever again. My brother was like, no, you're cool. We're going to go out and get pizza afterwards. I'm like, people like me still? He's like, yeah, they like you, dude. Yeah. I was like, I thought everyone hated me. Like, no, you're fine. Like, I thought I did a bad thing. Like, no, you're fine. So then I like laid there for a while, and I was like, I can't move. And then finally in my head, I was like, Tom. And he didn't come. He went for a walk. He wouldn't come upstairs. So I was like, you have to stand. And that's when I got up and like pushed the door. I had to pee really bad, but I couldn't get out of bed. Yeah. So I went out of bed. I peed. And as soon as I peed, I was like, I'm back in my body. Cause I was like in my body, but I wasn't working like I thought it would. And then I had another hour of just like chilling downstairs, being like, talking to my brother, being like, how do you fucking function? Cause he had done it previously. And I'm like, how do you even live now? And he was like, you'll be fine. And then eventually went for a ride. I got a smoothie, and like that night it kind of wore off, and I had a splitting headache.
I was surprised that I forgot you had done it. Yeah. What the fuck was I? I think we were doing a sketch.
I texted you. Yeah, you're doing a sketch. I was texting you, obviously. Love you. Sorry for being a fag ass.
Yeah, I liked that. That was very funny.
I just felt like I had been so shitty to everyone.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Dude, I relived.
I see why you're bugging out about things. I'm like, dude, you're fine. And I was like, I came out of it like, I'm such a fucking piece of shit.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, waking up that day was just like...
I feel like you had it way more difficult. Like if you had set up and it was like dude, my shit was so cool.
Bro, I was fucked up when I started. I had no preparation at all. I wasn't like, this is what I'm doing. This is where I am. I didn't know where I was. It was night number 2 in an unknown place.
Dude, I like mentally prepared for like 2 months and like researched, read spirituality books and all this stuff that obviously were a humongous help, because I was able to kind of like just kind of think of the whole thing through that. If I had just been like spit out and that hit me and I was just like, that happened to me once and I just fucking freaked out. I don't remember any of it, but
I remember a lot of it.
Really?
And I was happy I did it that way. True. I was happy I did it without any sense of I had control. Or like figuring stuff out, Well, that's because I had nothing.
That was the thing for me. It was like all your little schemes of like, I'll do this and I do that. It was just like, that's just shit you tell yourself, dude. Yeah. Just munch them, bug out, you'll be back in your body. And I had to like get used to my body again, which was weird.
Yeah.
Oh, so
dude, I walked around the house in the morning.
Just getting back in your body?
Maybe, yeah.
You must have eaten like a quarter, dude.
I don't know what I ate.
Judging off what you told me you ate, I think it was like...
There was a long period of time where I was totally incapacitated.
Yeah.
I got hit with a mirror. I walked in the bathroom, saw my... Dude, I was telling you this. I looked like a groundhog. Like I saw like my face was like pink and my eyes were huge. And I was like, damn, dude, I look like Gus, the groundhog from this Lotto commercials, dude. I was like, is this what I look like? And
Well, that was
towards the end. That was when I started like
you came back too.
I was like, that's me. Like I was thinking for a while. I was just
Gone.
zero. And then I at one point I went upstairs and got water.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I would sip water and just instantly feel nauseous. Like at one point I was like, I'm gonna throw up, and he was like, you gonna throw up? And I was like, no. Yeah. I was like lay there. But yeah, dude, that when I came back too, when I like got back in, because I didn't know like anything about myself, my phone, I was like, ugh. But I remember thinking like that'd have been so funny if I came back and I was just 400 pounds. I could have came back and like, oh shit, dude! Like I had no idea. I remember just coming. The one thing that made me laugh is like when I was finally like coming back into myself. I remember being like, I have a goatee. Yes, yes, dude, I did it. Dude,
Sweet.
Yeah, it was funny to like. I remember being like, I have longish sort of hair. Like I was like, I Ray Charles myself. I was just kind of like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, it was crazy, dude. But the whole experience is one thing. It's for me, it was the after effects have been awesome.
Yeah,
dude, I had like nothing but neurotic thinking patterns that have like I forgot. Like so, what happens is like I'll wake up now, and I didn't know. I forgot I used to even do this. I went to pee the other night. Woke up to take a piss. Pissed, and then like I had like a flood of racing thoughts about just like complete nonsense. But I remember being like, oh yeah, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and fucking freak out. Like 4 nights a week. I'd wake up and be like, ah! And I was like that
really?
Like all the time. I was something I like would happen to me in the middle of the night, and I would just put it out of my mind and go back to bed. And I would just be like, oh, what do I got to do tomorrow? And I would just think about like 40 things at once while I'm peeing and like just freak out, then go back to bed.
Yeah.
That started to happen. I was just like, huh, fuck, man. And then I started going, dude, I think you fucked yourself. Then it starts happening again. And you go, no, I'm good. I went back to bed. But it's like, dude, I like erased it was just like there was like a ton of plugins. Like you have like your ego, and it's a good thing to have. It's like keeps you from dying and stuff. But like there's like, don't get eaten by a bear. Don't get murdered by your neighbor. They're like good programs to run. And then it's like, there's like a plugin that's like, is your boss mad at me? Is my wife mad? They're the ones that trigger that same limbic system. And it's like, I was running like thousands of plugins unnecessarily that just got pulled off.
Why? What do you think?
I just was anxious and neurotic, dude. Yeah. It was just, that's just what happens. It's like if you have an employee and their job is, it's not as important as it's important, but they shouldn't be running the show. They'll invent things to do to keep themselves more relevant and important.
Yeah.
So the ego thrives on problems. So they just constantly invent problems. And that was the thing that bugged me out too. I was like, why are we fucking giving kids math problems, dude? We have enough shit going on. We're fucking just inventing shit. I invent shit. I was in math and they made me fucking just figure out shit that wasn't even fucking real. It was nuts. It was fucked up. Like, fucking shit's hard enough, dude. You don't got to just be confusing kids with fucking numbers they don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't exist. Just fucking delete it from the textbook.
Math?
And I was like, it's good to know, but come on, man.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to do that shit.
Yeah.
I started thinking about
they should be able to tell who's dumb.
Well, I started thinking about that. I'm like, that's fucked up, man. They just put that shit on people, dude. The Pythagoreans. I was just a Celtic warrior, obviously.
Yeah.
Pythagoreans were just came there and they're like, do you even know how to count? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
No.
What do you mean? I know how many wives I have. That's what everyone did. They were just like 3-year-olds. They were just like, how old are you?
Yeah. They'd have sticks. Put them on the ground. That many.
Like, I've been marking a rock, I think, every 4 moons, but give or take. They're like, dude, you fucking suck. You even notice the stars revolve? And you're like, stop fucking around, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we own you now. And you're like, fuck. Now your fucking great grandkids have to crack math problems, dude. It's fucked up. Bullshit, dude.
So you feel like it was good.
Yeah.
And you feel better than you did?
Yeah. But I will say this. There's a caveat because I could see how you could fucking spin out afterwards because it's a big change. And it's one of those things where it's like I had to come to grips with the fact that I'll probably never be exactly the same. And that's kind of scary.
I think you will.
I don't think so, dude.
I think, at least I did. I think.
You can't, so they kind of wore off a little?
After a couple days.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 or 3 days, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, definitely the first day. Like, I went out to lunch and I was out to dinner with my girl and she was like, are you all right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm fine.
And that makes you feel worse.
Yeah, for sure.
I was getting that the day of. Like, are you sure you're fine? And I'm like, fine. I had a bad headache, dude. I had to go take a hot bath. And I read Dune. That was my turnaround point.
True.
Read Dune in the bathtub and was just like,
Got it.
Nothing but like, mother trained my consciousness. I'm like, fuck yes, dude, I'm back.
Yes.
Back online. I honestly, dude, they've done studies with this, and apparently this can have lasting personality changes for up to like 18 months. Studying from like, life contentment indexes and all that stuff. And dude, it's like, there's the shit that I wiped off. It's like, and it's not like, I'm not saying like, oh, it's all gone, like everything's perfect. It still pops up, but it's like a thin vapor compared to what before it would be like, my reaction was physical, mental. Now it's like a fleeting thought that I'm like, huh, like, like Brittany will be pissed about something. And I used to just be like, like we're on an airplane, one of the motors starts smoking. I'm just fucking, the whole plane starts blowing up. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you fucking angry? What the fuck? And it, we just explode rather than just being like, sorry you feel this way.
Yeah.
I'm here. I used to fucking implode. So far, that's not been the case,
That's
so
good.
it's like, it's help, but I'm also, I'll say, I was so neurotic. It's almost like, when you weigh like 500 pounds, you're like, I lost 200 pounds. Like, well, you're still 300 pounds, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like mentally 300 pounds from 500. So it's like pretty tight.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny to go on a mushroom journey just to like be able to listen to your wife nag. it's coming out and be like, whoa.
Dude.
And then your wife's like, did you put this away? You're like,
it's the ultimate, dude. It's just.
You Neo your wife's nags?
Every man in my family, the mission now is the whole family.
Survive the women.
We're going to get the whole family just fucking Celtic warriored up. Dude, we could alter the future of my entire family line.
Yeah.
If all the men of the family had done the heroic dose. And again, if you do it with the blindfold with intention, it's a different experience.
I believe it.
So it's like.
My experience I thought was important.
Yeah, dude.
I enjoyed it.
You fucking foresaw your future and avoided it. Come on,
I died.
Dude. Don't try to strip away your psychonaut status, dude.
No. I have it. I have the status.
You do.
I went in.
Don't forget
pure Celtic warrior. Pure Celtic warrior.
Yeah, dude.
Actual Celtic.
That's how
warrior.
I say it too. Celtic.
None of this reading.
Yeah, dude.
Jargon
Boston,
before
Celtics, dude.
None of this.
True.
Studying that. I was just like, hand me my ale. And I was drinking my ales, and I was like, give me these, whatever these are. I'm a true Celtic warrior Viking.
True.
That's how I feel.
I'm happy for you, bro. Your tricks don't work on me, dude. My
It's
ego
not a
got
trick.
demoted. I know what you're doing.
My ego is, I'm perfect. I have perfect faith.
That's good.
I'm humble.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, humbly. I fear God.
Good.
Very humble.
Good.
Yes.
That's all you can do.
Subscribe. Hit the fucking notification
Smash that
bell.
motherfucking
When
subscribe.
people say that, it drives me nuts.
It's infuriating.
The Wild Wild West.